We are raw and real mothers sharing our struggles, triumphs, and everything in between.
We are all about being authentic and sharing who we are. None of us have it all together.
We know how hard motherhood is. We also know how joyful motherhood is.
We're here to grow with you. We're here to empower and support each other.
As we share our hearts, we become stronger. Our stories bring us together.
The MotherHeart is within every woman.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the MotherHeart. We are so excited for this call tonight. It's our first guest speaker that is joining us, and her name is Wylene Benson. Hi, Wylene. We're so happy you're here with us.
Everybody.
I am truly grateful for Wylene in my life. She has been one of the main sources of inspiration for me in moving forward in my life, and I just wanted to say thank you for helping me connect to myself and my worth, and you really have been a huge mentor for me, Wylene. So I am honored to have you on this call, and I'm honored, and everyone on this call is going to be blessed to hear the words you have to share tonight. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Love you, Rachel. Thank you.
I love you too. I'm going to start out by sharing about Wylene, and she is pretty amazing. So Wylene Benson is a best-selling author, a Christian business coach, a purpose mentor. Wylene also leads a popular podcast called The Daily Gratitude Call. She is the best guide to finding your God-given purpose and experiencing wealth on the Lord's errand. Her unique step-by-step 7 gateway system for achieving personal and business alignment was revealed to her by God, and it is the simplest and most efficient shortcut for Christians who want to live a life of integrity.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, and you do exactly that. So,
thank you.
Yes, we have all been reading the book, the 7 Gateways, which is Wylene's book. So she is going to discuss this book with us, which is so cool to have the author here. This is really exciting. So Wylene, can you give us an overall of what the book is about?
Yeah, I'd love to. In fact, I just have to say, for those of you who are listening to the recording, we started with a prayer before we started the recording, and I love that. I do my daily GPS every morning, which is gratitude, prayer, and scripture, and I definitely start the day with connecting with God that way. So I was really appreciative of that. And as you were praying, Rachel, I actually just saw this huge connection. And I'm so glad that I'm here on this call on the MotherHeart podcast, because I realized that this book actually came about because of my mother heart. And I'll share with you what I mean by that. I was working at a job. I was working full time, and I was only making like $12 an hour. My husband was on disability income, and it really wasn't enough. We had 5 kids. I call them kids, but they're like, late teens, early 20s, living in our house at the time. 2 of them were my daughter's boyfriends, 2 of my daughter's boyfriends, and they did not get along. And the final straw was they duked it out in the front room, and my husband broke it up and kicked him out. And so but it was during that time that was pretty stressful, stressful financially, stressful, with the relationships and things that were happening within the family. One of the young men was a heroin addict. We had lots of things happening in our family right then. And this was before, of course, the 7 Gateways was revealed to me, or, I knew anything about anything. And it was because of my compassionate heart that I felt like I needed to be everything to everybody. I needed to work to bring in some extra income. I needed to provide a place for these young men to live. I, needed to do all these things. And really, a lot of these things were not mine to do. But it was because of that mother heart that I was just like taking all of this on. And I had a heart attack at the age of 49. I had a heart attack. And the doctor diagnosed it as Takotsubo, which layman's terms is broken heart syndrome. And that was really what started my whole journey. The doctor told me to sit in my front room, let everybody wait on me, no stress, no physical activity for 8 weeks. And so I literally just like sat there. I read a lot of really uplifting books. I journaled a lot. I did a lot of praying. And it was during that time that things started happening, that kind of events evolved to lead me to find my first mentor. And that mentor helped me to understand about the law of attraction and how the words that we speak and, everything that we put out into the universe, we're just magnifying it coming back to us. And so it was, during that time that I was able to shift and start really focusing on myself and my own purpose and mission and what really was mine and what wasn't mine and what I had taken on to myself that really wasn't mine. And just, doing this process every day of connecting with God and asking him what's next, what's the most important thing for me to focus on. And that's where all those 7 gateways just started just coming as downloads. They were 7 quantum leaps in my life. I literally felt like my whole body upshift every time I got some new understanding of one of these gateways. I felt a total change within my body. And at first I thought this was just a path for me to go from this broken heart to, becoming a whole person again. But I realized after a while that this was a pathway that everybody could follow, that it wasn't just for me. And so I have been documenting it the whole time and just started, bringing it together into a book. So that's where it came from.
This is a treasure, like a treasure of knowledge. It really is a treasure. And as I've been reading it, I get lost in it, Wylene. Like I've had this book for a long time on my shelf, and I've honestly been waiting for the right moment. And I should have read it a long time ago. Honestly, you can read this book 10,000 times, and you still are gonna learn and grow from it. But it's marked up. I told Anna Maria, I can't even finish this book because I get so lost in thought and processing and pondering and just applying what you're teaching. It's incredible, and I feel like from meeting you, my life has leveled up for sure, 100%. And so this book, it's really, really cool to have it in writing and to have a guide to take you through it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm just digesting it, honestly.
Can I share a little experience I had when I first got it? So Wylene and I met at a chiropractor's office, and I told her, I know you. I listened to your podcast. You don't know me, but I do know you. And we gave each other a big hug, and she said, hold on a minute. And I think I shared a few things about my life, and she came back with the book. And I was so grateful for it. And she wrote, let's see what pages. She wrote something so sweet. And I just thought, she said, Anna Maria, so great to meet you, Sister Heart. Love, Wylene. And I really did feel that connection of sisterhood when I met Wylene. And I just thought, okay, I was going through a really, really hard few weeks because I had just been diagnosed with scoliosis, and I'm 36 years old. And I thought, Heavenly Father, what's my next step? What do I need to do? And then here comes this beautiful book in my life and Wylene. And I knew that wasn't a coincidence. And then moving forward a few weeks, probably actually more like 2 months, I kind of had one of my moments with feeling my true value. And I was basing it off of what I thought someone in my life, my husband, what I thought he believed about me, what I thought. Anyways, and I decided to go rent a hotel for a night and just take the book with me and read it in one night. And it was so incredible because I open up to the gateway of faith, and she says, the counterfeit was that I had faith in my abilities. The truth is that I can have faith in my intrinsic value alone. I read that line and I was, wait, what? We don't need to just have faith in God? I thought if we have faith in God, we'll be okay. we'll make it through whatever we need to. This was the first time I had this understanding. You need to have faith in who you are to truly know who you are, to become your highest self. And so that was very eye-opening for me, and that changed my perspective and on who I am, and I was able to grasp my value again. I feel like throughout life I've grasped, like taken a little piece of my value, and I believe it for like a month or two, and then it's gone. And this has given me more of a grounding and a sure footing of I need to always hold on to that faith in who I am, and not just base it off of what other people think or say or believe about me. So
I think that goes back to what I was talking about before, that mother heart, that I felt like it was a mother heart, but it was really a savior complex. And, what you're saying, it's so important that we just know of our intrinsic value instead of like, I have to do this so that blah, 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 so that I'll feel useful or that people will love me or, whatever it is. That's so important. I have to mention too, Rachel said, in the when she was talking about me and this, how this was just given to me, and I just basically put it down on paper. I constantly am having people share parts of the book with me, and I'm like, seriously, I wrote that? Like, I don't even, and you know how it is when you read the scriptures and you're like, how have I never seen this before? I mean, this is like been here the whole time and I didn't even notice it. Or you read it and you get something completely different out of it. I get constantly, I will have people tell me, I read this and it changed my life. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like there's so many meanings, and it's like scripture. It's like you can read it and you get whatever you need out of it for you personally. It's an amazing book.
It meets you right where you are, like in your progression, in your own personal journey. Like it just meets you right there. At least it does for me. And so I'm like, okay, I've made it through that gateway. Okay, we'll get into it. This is just exciting. But do you want to tell us what the gateways are? Just list them off, and then we're going to elaborate on the gateway of faith together. Just dive into the gateway of faith.
Yes, I can do that. So the gateway of faith, which we're going to spend a little bit of time on tonight, and that really is the foundation of everything. And if anytime you level up, I'm sure you've all experienced this where, you're like, okay, I'm good. All right, I think I need to improve in this area. And so you just like set a goal to do something different. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not good enough to do that. You kind of go to that again because it's like we're in a place we have never been before. You can totally you're going to go through these gateways with every single new thing that you do. You're going to just like start spinning around this circle of all the gateways. Sometimes at first it takes a little while to get through them, but you get really familiar with them, and it always starts with the gateway of faith. So that's the very foundation. If you have faith that you are enough, and that whatever you don't have is because you're enough, it's going to be given to you at the exact perfect moment. If you have that knowledge, basically everything else just comes. So gateway of faith, gateway of abundance is after that, because you can't have abundance in your life if you don't believe that you're worthy of it. But once you feel like, you're good, you're enough, then abundance can come your way. The gateway of charity, and that is like, it's a little different than what you might think. It's like the pure love of Christ, where you see everybody as Christ would see them, and you see yourself as Christ would see you. So you see yourself and you see other people in their genius, in their gifts, in their divine greatness. And the fourth gateway is the gateway of prosperity. Now, if you take faith, abundance, and charity and put those three together, if you can really get those three down, prosperity is the natural byproduct of faith, abundance, and charity. So prosperity is fourth. And then the fifth one is the gateway of obedience, because once you get into this gateway of prosperity, I'm sure all of you have been there, you get a little bit of success and you're like, oh, this feels so good. And then you get a little nudge that you should be doing something more. And you're like, but it's so nice here. I don't know if I want to change. I just like my comfort zone. and we have a hard time kind of going forward. But, and the problem with that is you've got a little bit of success, you feel a little bit of prosperity, but there's 3 more gateways to go. And if we don't take the time to, or if we don't, be committed to follow that guidance when we receive it, and start getting those promptings to move forward, then we're going to miss out on all the abundance that's above and beyond that prosperity that you're in. So the 5th gateway is the gateway of obedience, because a lot of times we get stuck in those comfort zones. We get these nudges and we have a hard time obeying those nudges. So the gateway of obedience is the next lesson that gets to be learned. And then the gateway of humility, because it's really cool once you get that obedience down and you're like every day asking, what's next? Okay, I'm going, I'm doing, and you don't hesitate, then all of a sudden, like, all this stuff starts happening. And the tendency is to be like, wow, I'm pretty good. So then we get to learn humility and know where all of that wonderful stuff is really coming from. And then the final gateway is the gateway of equity. And the gateway of equity is that we never were meant to have to do or be at all. Christ makes up the difference. His equity, if you read in the scriptures, it says Christ is full of equity. And so it's his equity that we get to borrow from for us to be whole, complete, perfect. So not only are we enough in the gateway of faith, but when we get through all the gateways and we get to that gateway of equity, then we have the right to call upon Christ to make up the difference, to fill us up where we lack. So those are the 7 gateways.
That is so powerful. When you said the gateway of equity, I felt a sacredness come. So it's very, very powerful stuff. 2 things stuck out to me when I first started reading the book. It was like choosing to begin before you even get to any of the gateways. It has the milestones, right? The first milestone and the second milestone. Choosing to begin and choosing to believe. Do you want to share kind of what those mean?
Choosing, all of it is a choice. So I think that if I remember right, all of the milestones start with choosing to, or something like that. And yes, so it's a choice. Everything is a choice. Choosing to begin, you could just you could just be you and, continue through your life and never, I know that we know millions of people who go through life and they still don't even really recognize their value at the end of their life. So you really can live your life. It's not a full life. It's not a whole life, but you can live your life never choosing to begin this process of integrity. This is the map to integrity. And what that integrity is integrity of soul. It's integrity of like your purpose, who you are at the divine core. It's integrity with God, being one with God. And it's integrity, even being one with the whole planet, with our brothers and sisters as an eternal family. There's a wholeness that happens, and especially, as you start seeing people in the gateway of charity for their divine greatness, and then the gateway of equity where you're asking Christ to make up the difference. There's just this wholeness that happens, and the only way that it can happen is if you're willing to navigate these 7 gateways. And they're simple. All of them are simple. I mean, they're words that we hear all the time: faith, abundance, charity, prosperity. We use these words all the time in the English language, but it's a study. It really is it's a daily, it's a map. I mean, even the cover has a hiker on it. It's a daily working towards this wholeness, this completeness. And it really all starts with choice, just choosing to begin. That's where it all starts.
And believing that you can get there, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's the faith, right?
Yes. I found it really beautiful. Like, I can look at the book and I can see myself in the gateway of faith and the gateway of abundance. And I could be like, at the end, you have check marks that say, okay, you know, you're passing through the gateway when you hit this, like right where you're at, basically. And I can be like, yes. But then when it gets to the one that I can't say yes, and I feel like I might have the knowledge, but it hasn't integrated into my being. It hasn't become who I am, like the way I live life. And I think that that's kind of a symbol for me when I've passed through. It's really become who I am. It's become how I live. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And the nice thing is that you can go back and review the chapter. And just like Anna Maria was saying, you know, that she caught that one thing, that one specific thing, and it just changed everything. Yes. And so you do have the opportunity to go back and just like review the chapter. I just started a brand new membership, the 7 Gateways membership community. It's just $47 a month. So if anybody's interested in that, and you actually we do a monthly call. And so that's another way that, you know, if you have questions, or if you're just feeling like, oh, I'm just kind of stuck here, I don't know, you know, I still am not like, because I give you the opportunity to like rate yourself from 1 to 5. You know, 1 being that you're not there at all, 5 being that, yes, I'm absolutely there. And, you know, that's an opportunity to, so I provided those opportunities to be able to connect and, you know, to ask them questions if you have some specific questions.
That is very, very cool. Okay, ladies, do you want to join in on this discussion about the Gateway of Faith? Do any of you want to start out by asking any questions that you have about the Gateway of Faith, or want to talk about something you read or something that stuck out to you?
I just loved, hold on, let me make sure I'm at the right spot. I just had it marked, but then as we were talking, I started looking at other pages in the book. So I'm just going to read this little section. It says, I learned the lesson that it's important to believe the perfect item exists somewhere and that it is on its way. When you put something on order, don't order something else. Just be patient and keep your eyes open. It is there and waiting for you. The universe will connect you with it at the perfect time. Every time we order something and we keep the faith until it shows up, we gather evidence of our ability to manifest. I thought that was so cool. And like the experience you shared of like getting the desk, and anyway, you guys will have to read this book, whoever's listening, to hear the whole story. But a desk manifested the exact desk she needed right after she purchased a desk. And
I ordered another one.
Yeah. And it just made me think of like times in my life where like it just really helped me to reflect on my life and like think of like, you know, where have I manifested and come in with a abundance mindset or a mindset of faith rather than doubt, or and so it was just really helpful for me to like really think about that. And I want
to comment on that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Kyla. It's one of my favorite stories. That was like the most amazing thing. And I just want to comment on that because this is a common thing that we fall into. It's like a trap that we fall into, and it definitely fits in the Gateway of Faith, because faith, like you're talking about, it's like faith that that item is there. It exists somewhere. And it could be even a relationship. It's like having faith that this relationship can be healed. I know that, you know, there's a way for us to, you know, make this better or whatever. And it really boils down to that faith that I'm enough, I'm worthy to have something really good in my life. And God knows who I am. And, you know, that I'm his daughter. It really does fall down to that. And the thing that we have a tendency a lot of times to do, that I've had to like break the habit of, is that I'll just do it myself. that's what happened when I ordered that desk. It was like it had been up on my vision board for a little bit. It wasn't even really that long of a time, but I'd been to like 7 stores. I'd looked online and I was like, oh, I'm probably just not going to be able to afford, the desk that I want, because all the desks that I looked at that fit the description were like in the thousands of dollars. And it's like, I'm not going to spend thousands of dollars on a desk. Well, I made the decision that it wasn't out there and I'll just have to buy a desk. So I lost the faith. I didn't believe that I was worthy of having what I had asked for. So it really does just boil down to that. And if we can just hold on a little bit longer and not just say, oh, I'll just take care of it myself. I guess I'll just go do this, because it's not showing up. If we will just hold on a little bit longer, that's when the miracles come. That's when that evidence starts showing up. And we're like, oh, wow, it really was out there.
Mm-hmm. So what happened with the desk, Wylene? Because now we're on edge. Like,
I found a desk at a yard sale for $90, and my laptop's sitting on it right now. It's like the most beautiful desk, and it totally has everything that was in my description. $90.
Awesome. That's awesome. Wylene, I have a question that segues, it's connected to Kylie's, and I also have had a very similar experience in buying a desk.
Cool.
Actually, just a few months ago, in manifesting the perfect desk for myself, which I am using right now as well. It's so awesome. So I can testify to that process, that it does work. So my question is, so with practicing manifesting things in my life, I have learned that I get to choose the what, right? I get to envision, even in very fine detail, what I want, but I don't necessarily get to choose the when. That's kind of what I believed in this process. But I was reading in your book that you can speed up the process a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I wondered if you'd be willing to elaborate on that.
Yes, I would be happy to. And I don't know if this is exactly what you're referring to, but this is in the book, so you'll know.
Oh yeah. I'll just you did mention adding some keywords to like your vision or to your vision board, for example.
Okay.
That was one. But if you had any other thoughts on that.
I was going to share something else. So maybe, I don't know.
Either way, just whatever. Anything that helps, like,
it's all good.
I'm so patient.
It's all good.
Yes.
Okay, so you said there was 2 things that I was going to share, and I think I lost one of them. So I'll go ahead and share the other thing. So the what and the all that. Okay, so yes, you can decide the what, but I've actually even learned, I'm actually currently working on a 2nd edition because I only have just a few books left, and I've got to get a 2nd edition printed, and there's going to be a few little changes. What I know now is that you can choose the what, but it actually works better if you let the what come to you as inspiration. So instead of just saying, I want this, and I'm going to put this up on my vision board, you would sit down and say, what would be the most, like the best thing for me to work for this month? What would be the best thing for me to put on my vision board this month? And just listen for inspiration of what that would be. And maybe there's like a specific area of your life, like health or something like that you're specifically focused on. So you could say, what's the most important thing that would really improve my health this month? And whatever comes to you, it might be like it did for me this month. Go to bed at 9 o'clock, get up at 5 a.m. I'm like, okay. And I've done it about half the time. And I can tell you, it's like the most amazing thing ever. But it's not like something that I would say, oh, I'm going to put on my vision board that I get to go to bed at 9 o'clock every night. But if you'll follow that inspiration, those things on the vision board will open up brand new things that you never even could hope to imagine. So that's one thing that I've learned is you can ask for inspiration of what the goal is. And then the other thing that you can have control over is, and kind of choose and focus on, is the why. So, for instance, I wanted to get 2 lounge chairs, like recliners, one for downstairs and one for upstairs, because my husband he needs to lay down a lot during the day because he has a lot of pain in his back. And our bedroom was in the basement, in the very back corner of the basement. And so he was always down there and just never around the family. And so I put on my vision board to get a recliner downstairs and recliner upstairs so that he'd have a place to kind of rest where he was still around the family. So that was the what, was the 2 recliners, and the why was because I wanted more family connection with my husband. So these are whys that God can get behind. If he can put his signature on that and say, yep, that's a really good reason to have that, then it's very likely that he's going to be helping you, all things working together for your good to get that. So that's the what and the why. The how is totally up to him. I leave that totally up to him. I'm just asking him every day, what's the most important thing I can do today for these 2 recliners to be in my possession? And whatever the inspiration is that day, the inspired shortcut today, to get there in the shortest way possible, that's what I do. So the how, you can speed that up by following those inspired shortcuts, asking that question, what's the most important thing I can do? And then following that inspired shortcut. And then the when, you can speed up because you probably haven't gotten to it yet. It's the next to the last chapter. There's a small chapter called Immovable Momentum. Mm-hmm. And this is how you increase your momentum by becoming immovable. And that sounds like something that like opposition. Yeah, like a paradox. But when you are immovable as God is immovable, and basically what that means is that you are obedient like a carrot seed is obedient. You can read it on the back of a carrot seed packet. And this is in the book. You read on the back of a carrot seed packet, it takes like 75 days until, you plant the seed, and then you can be eating a carrot in 75 days or whatever. And so if you want it to be 75 days, not 5,000 days, then you become obedient like a carrot seed is obedient. You work in tandem with the natural laws. You utilize the resources that God gives you. All these things is part of helping things work a little bit faster and easier and more convenient, having more convenience in your life. Yeah.
So I have a question, Wylene, to go along with that.
Mm-hmm.
So when that thing manifests itself, so this is my problem, is I procrastinate. Plus I also doubt myself. So when something, shows up, for example, like, oh, that looks perfect, and I've just been scrolling through Facebook Marketplace or something, right? And I'm like, oh, that looks perfect. Ooh, but I don't know, is that, worth it? Or will my husband like it? Or, well, am I just, spending money? Is it really the right thing? And I kind of second guess myself. And so I let opportunities like that pass by. And maybe sometimes it's for the better, right? We're trying to save money or whatever. But like, how do you know that this is the manifestation of what's on my vision board and not just, oh, that would be something nice to have and it kind of fits the bill, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, first of all, you've hit the nail on the head that it does go back to the gateway of faith, that I'm enough, right? So but will my husband like it? Is it, is it okay if I have this? There's like, that's why, you have to get the gateway of faith down before you can enjoy abundance. So yeah, you have to just allow yourself to dream. First of all, imagination should have no limitations. If you're dreaming about something and you're like, this would be so cool if we could have this, and there's a good why behind it that God can get behind, then there's absolutely no reason that shouldn't go up on your vision board. So I have some things actually that go up on my vision board occasionally, and then I'm like, okay, it's going to go in the drawer for a little bit. It's not quite time for that yet. and I don't want to be distracted because I've got some other things that are more important right now. So I have a little file that's like, hold on, not quite yet. And then every once in a while, I'll be like, I'm going to pull that out again, and I'm going to put that up on my vision board. And it might stay up there for a month again. I want a family cabin. We want to have, my husband and I want to have a family cabin. And it's a big expense, you know, and it's not something that we're ready for yet, but I've been collecting pictures. It's like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing. This would be so cute for a loft, you know, with all these beds and with curtains around the beds and everything. And I have a picture like that that's up on my vision board every once in a while. And it's just a reminder that, yes, that is still coming. It was ordered from somewhere far away that takes a long time to ship here. But I just allow myself to dream. So there's no harm in dreaming, and there should be no judgment on dreaming. And things will kind of start honing in, you know, like I've had pictures that when I put them back up on my vision board there, I'm like, yeah, that's not my style anymore. So I'll take it out and I'll toss that. And then I'll be scrolling through something, find something, print it out, and stick it up there. So your dreams can evolve, but just always having that base knowledge that you are enough. And that if it's something that is meaningful to you, it's just like, you know, if you went to your mom when you were, your mom and dad when you were a little kid and said, I want a bike, you know, I really want to have a bike. I want to be able to, you know, ride over to my friend's house and, you know, be able to get there under my own power and not have you, you know, have to go with me or whatever. And it's like that, you know, and mom and dad are like, yes, we want you to have a bike. That would be so cool for you to have a bike. I think that's the way Heavenly Father is too. You know, if there's something that's really meaningful, that he's like, yes, we would love to have you have that. But there's certain things that need to be in place first. And sometimes it is like some character traits you need to develop, like not procrastinating, you know, or things like that. That once you get over those hurdles, that's like, okay, now's the right time to have it because I know you can keep it now. He's not going to give you something that will, you know, that you're not going to be able to keep. He's going to give you some opportunities to become the person that could actually step into it and keep it.
And I know that God answers the desires of our hearts. So even I've had things come into my life, even if it's not on a vision board, but it is something I think about and ponder in my heart all the time, where I ask and I keep it in a vision in my mind, and I know that God fulfills those desires of my heart. And yes, some of them take a lot longer than others, but I don't know that has to be the case, Wylene. So I'm learning that.
Yeah. And it is interesting. A lot of times, you know, we have this specific vision of what it is in our minds. And I even shared this, I'm pretty sure I shared this in the book as well, that I was looking for places for retreats as when I was doing my warrior camps. And I wanted one by the beach. I wanted one in a mountain setting. I wanted one in a desert setting. And before I even realized what was happening, I had opportunities given to me where I have a place to go now. Anytime I want to, I can call up a friend and she'll let me stay in her guest house. And she lives about 5 minutes from the beach, 10 minutes from the beach. And I have a sister-in-law or a aunt-in-law who lives in St. George. So she has a casita by her house that she said I can come down and stay anytime. And my house, I have pine trees in the backyard, and I realized I actually live in a mountain retreat right here. And so it was interesting how those things actually manifested to me in a different way than I had anticipated. And now, you know, my situation has changed and the things that I do are slightly different. You know, the goal now is a family cabin. So things kind of change. It doesn't mean that God said no. It's just, you know, I was just guided into a different place, and everything has worked out perfectly.
Wylene, so in my life, I've noticed that I tend to have a lot of faith and confidence, and maybe it's the wrong type of faith. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's faith in some of my abilities rather than faith in my intrinsic value. But I find I get so far and so close to something, and then boom, there's a block. And there's another block and another block, and I get so aggravated and just, yeah, and I just wonder, like, where does that come in? Is that fear coming in instead of the faith, or how does that play?
It actually could be. We could probably do a whole podcast on this.
Yes.
And I feel like I would love to do a permission process at some point. Maybe towards the end of our call, that will give you 3 steps on that what you can do when you have something like that come up. There's a couple things to realize is that when you are stepping out of your comfort zone and you're stepping into something that you've never done before, this is a new space. You're not prepared for it. Okay. You're not, if you were prepared for it, if you were ready for it, if you'd already, had everything that you needed, you would have it. It would already be in your life. So just know that anytime you're stepping out of your comfort zone and doing something new, there's going to be some things that will pop up. It's like, the person that said they prayed for patience and then all of a sudden they, had all these things where they needed to learn patience. And that's the way it is. It's like if you are stepping into, say, more financial abundance, you need to know how to handle money. And so there might be some situations arise where you're like, bills come due and there's no money. It's like, what do I do? Okay, I got to get creative. We need to learn creativity, before we can experience some financial abundance. We need to learn restraint. We need to learn, there's like all these different things that we can learn that will help us be able to keep that abundance that we're stepping into. Okay. So again, God's not going to give you anything that you're not ready to keep. He doesn't want to see you fail. So he's going to give you, instead, he'll give you opportunities to learn the character traits and the, these laws that apply to things before he blesses you with the thing. Okay. So just know that that's just part of stepping out of your comfort zone. There's new things that you have to learn. You have to become a new person to be able to receive something new.
Okay.
Also, and I've actually been experiencing some of this even just the last couple of days. If you've been on my daily gratitude call, I've actually been pretty open about sharing some things. I know I'm stepping into a more bold speech about being a witness of Christ, and in a world that tends to be shutting down a lot of that. And I've been feeling some really interesting stuff going on inside of me. In fact, I would call it depression. I don't really get depression or whatever, but if I could, put a label to it, I would say that that's it. But I know that this is just like, it's like there's this doorway and there's this film, it's like these chains hanging down from the doorway or something, and if you're in the doorway, if you're standing in the doorway and you're feeling the fear and you're like, well, I don't want to be in that old place, but I'm not quite ready to step 100% into the other place. So you're just like standing in this doorway that has these chains, all around you. You have to do one or the other. You've got to either go back to your comfort zone or you just need to step through. And I feel like that's kind of where I'm at right now is I know that I'm stepping into a place. I haven't 100% done it yet. And so I'm just like feeling that kind of yucky feeling of just standing in the doorway and not 100% jumping in. And I know there's going to be a lot of things that I get to learn. I've learned a lot of things in the past that I think are going to help me to be able to step more fully into this space. But just know that when you're doing big things, there's going to be some opposition, and it doesn't mean that you're doing the wrong thing or you should step back or put it on the back burner or hold, not be so baffled or whatever. It just means that there's some things that you just need to step through. And I promise you, because I've done it so many times, you step through that doorway and it's like freedom on the other side.
Yes. So this is an amazing discussion, and we have about 15 more minutes, and we have about 1 million things that I want to talk about. And I'm sure we could honestly go on for 3 hours doing this, and I would love every second of it. I really would. You're like a wealth of knowledge, and I could just sit here and soak it in for hours. I really could. Where do you guys want to take this? My thoughts are we go to the permission process, or we can ask maybe a few more questions about the book.
I feel like Kylie had something to add to what was being discussed.
Okay.
What did I do? Like I
shifted forward.
My eyes. I did, but I was just gonna not let anyone know because I thought. So this is a question I've had is because I've felt this like shifting into a new state of being, or and I've read and a ton of books on self-improvement and learned that there's that discomfort that comes when you're shifting into a new state of being, into a higher place. And my question has always been, but how do you know if the shift is because you're just moving into a new space and that it's just gonna eventually that will subside, or you'll eventually become comfortable in that new space, whereas when you're first shifting it feels really uncomfortable and maybe you're anxious or maybe experiencing feelings of depression or anxiety or whatever it is. How do you know if that is because you're shifting into a higher state, or is it really too much? Are you really putting how do you know that it's not just because you're running faster? What's that scripture?
Yeah, like running faster than
you should. So yeah, that's kind of my question.
Yeah, good question. Take a deep breath and just, if you can get out of the feeling, usually just if you're in this kind of anxious feeling, it's like your breathing is shallow, you're tense, there's like a lot of physiological things that are happening. And if you can just take a deep breath and just let it go for just a moment, and then just kind of check in and just, is this mine? If you can even just ask that question, is this mine? And a lot of times we are taking on more things than really, what we should. Sometimes it is just a matter of taking a deep breath and maybe prioritizing the things. Maybe there's like 3 or 4 things and they're just like swirling around inside of our heads. And if we can just like take a deep breath, okay, let me write it down. Okay, which one of these is the most important for me to do today? I use that question like throughout the day. What's the most important thing? Because we know you can't. There's no such thing as multitasking. You're tasking here and you're tasking there, and you might be flipping back and forth, but you're not doing 2 things at once. And so if we can just kind of get into just get out of that idea that we have to do everything and get back into I'm enough just because I am, just because I'm a child of God, I'm enough. And so I don't have to be doing anything right now. Like there's nothing that I have to do. I'm enough, just like who I am and where I am and what I am. And if you can get into that space and then just ask, what's the most important thing for me to focus on right now? And it might be play with your baby. It might be go take a bath. It might be go take a nap. It might be vacuum the living room. Whatever it is, take that as, just trust that is God telling you. And for the most part, that anxiety that we feel is just like fear of what might happen. It's not even something that's happening right now. And so if we just take a deep breath and just get into this present state, then it's like nothing's required right now. Right now in this moment, all I have to do is just breathe and I'm okay. Does that help?
Yeah. I might want to talk to you for like hours.
Yeah, I would love to talk for hours.
I'm afraid, I think everyone that meets you wants to, so.
Yeah.
I think this would be actually a really good place to put in the permission process, because
Yes.
where we've had a couple of people ask that.
Yes.
So, I'll just kind of walk you through. It's just a 3-step process, and I'll tell you real quick what they are so you can write these down, and then just put your, just let everything go, and I'll just walk you through it. The first thing is just to identify what is, what the anxiety, or I call it a low vibration emotion. Any of the low vibration emotions are all based in fear, and they are not God-given. We have the ability to feel these, that's God-given for us to be able to feel these emotions, but God can only give light and love. And high vibration. He's a very high vibration. So if you're feeling anything that is a low vibration, it is attached to fear. And all you have to do is just take a deep breath and just say, what is this emotion attached to? Okay. And then that's a limiting belief. It's a belief that's going to limit you. So you just write that down and then just examine the cost of it. So the first thing is to identify the limiting belief. Second one is to examine the cost. What's the cost if I keep that limiting belief? Do I want to keep it? Is it something that's serving me? Is it going to help me to be a better person? Is it going to help me to move forward? And then you give yourself permission to choose a new belief. So if you don't like what that limiting belief is producing, then you can give yourself permission to choose a new belief. So then the third step is to create, I do 2 to 3 new beliefs for every one limiting belief, to take the place of that. So that's just a really simple process. And then you just take those new beliefs in and help them to become part of you, so that just like the old limiting belief was part of you, you can let go of that limiting belief and bring the new beliefs in to become part of you. So I'll go ahead and walk you through that process right now. So I'm just going to invite all of you to close your eyes and take a deep breath and just get present with me. And as we've been talking, especially as we've shared about manifesting, there's probably something that you've got on your vision board, or maybe something that you've been feeling like would be really nice to have for your family, for you, for a business, for whatever it is. Just whatever that thing is that you have been wanting, just take a moment right now and just dream it. Just take off all the limits, and just allow yourself to dream and to be and to experience in the fullest, most perfect form whatever it is that you've wanted, whether that is a material thing that you've wanted, or if it's a relationship, if it's maybe financial security or financial freedom, whatever it is. Just allow yourself to fully dream and to see it and to feel it and to experience it fully. Just let yourself be fully immersed as if it's already part of your life, and experience what it would be like to have this completely done, finished. And take a moment and label that emotion that you're feeling. Whether it be gratitude or joy or peace or happiness, whatever that emotion is, go ahead and label that feeling that is associated with having this being completed. And then intensify that emotion even more, so that it's not just in your mind, that it's something that you're actually feeling. Just allow yourself to feel that tingly sensation of whatever that emotion is all over your full body. And I have 2 questions for you as you're feeling this fully and intensely. What is the one most important thing you could do today that would take you one step closer to completing that? And just listen and trust the first thing that comes to you, even if it doesn't make sense. One most important thing that you could do for this to be a reality in your life right now. And just trust that. And then also listen if there are any limiting beliefs that are coming up for you, or maybe some of those low vibration emotions that are coming up as you are experiencing being fully in this, having this manifested, and also knowing now what the first step is to take. Are there any limiting beliefs that are showing up for you? And if there are, go ahead and write that down, write that limiting belief down, and make sure that you write it exactly the way it came to you. Don't try to soften it or make it be not so mean or whatever. Just write it down exactly the way it came to you. And then examine the cost of that limiting belief. How has that limiting belief been affecting you? What are the results that this limiting belief has been creating for you? And what will it continue to create for you if you decide to keep it? So you do have the choice. You can keep that limiting belief, or you can now that you know what it's been doing for you, you can give yourself permission to choose a new belief. And if you're ready to give yourself permission to choose a new belief, say yes. I want to hear an audible yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. So if you are ready to choose those new beliefs, then now's the time to choose 2 to 3 new beliefs that will take the place of that old limiting belief and will totally be in alignment with this new thing that you're wanting to create. So you can go back to that space where you can completely feel this new thing in your life manifested fully, and it's in your reality right now. What are some new beliefs that prove to you that this is true right now? That totally blow that limiting belief out of the water and that are more in alignment with what you want to create, who you want to become, and who you need to become to embrace this new thing in your life. And then once you have those 2 or 3 new beliefs, just take one more deep breath, bring those new beliefs in. And with those new beliefs, is there any reason, since you have these new beliefs and you've seen this in its fullness, is there any reason why it can't be a reality? I mean, this is it's just a matter of time, right? You've got these new beliefs, you've seen it, you've felt it, you've experienced it. It's actually in your mind and your imagination. It's a reality right now. And so there's no reason, it's just a matter of time before it becomes a reality in your true world. When you feel ready, you can go ahead and come back to the present. And is there anybody that would like to share maybe some of your new beliefs?
So my new belief is I am.
I am.
I am. And the
I
first
love it.
it already is, but what is already? I am already. I am.
Wow, that's super powerful. That's the ultimate of faith, right? Of the gateway of faith. I am.
I really was able to
Beautiful.
believe that it already exists. It already is. And because I am already who I am.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you. Anybody else?
My new belief is that I have all the support I need.
Beautiful. Awesome.
Mine are I am enough.
Yes.
I am capable. I am confident.
Awesome. Beautiful. Can you feel the importance of this first gateway? I am enough. If you are to bring anything into your physical existence, You have to believe that you are enough, that you're worthy of it. Beautiful.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. And I do a gratitude call every morning, every weekday morning, Monday through Friday, and we do that permission process at the end of the call. I always do a guided meditation, and that permission process is always part of it. If you haven't experienced that gratitude call, I highly encourage you. It's like the most amazing. I would never miss it, even if I wasn't the one that was facilitating it. It's totally amazing. So in fact, I'm going to share my screen real quick and just show you. This is my website. Get it up here. Okay, it's just wylenebenson.com. And if you want to find out about the gratitude call, just hover over the About Wylene, and you can see gratitude right there. Just click on gratitude. And so really it's just wylenebenson.com/gratitude as well. So this tells you where to join the daily gratitude. If you click to join, it will take you right to Zoom. And then as I scroll down here, talks about the gratitude call. There's a couple of videos here. One that says why gratitude. I share the top 3 reasons why I think it's important to start the day with gratitude every day. And then there's a testimonial by Colleen, who's still on our call like 5 years later. And this one, how to do your own daily gratitude practice. This one you might want to listen to before you get on live, because I go through the whole process so you kind of know what to expect. So, and then again, right here, how to join, and then somewhere it has the archives. I'm not seeing that. I know it's over here somewhere, but all you have to do is just go to latest news, and this has all the archived gratitude calls. So like this was today, gratitude for harmony. And then yesterday was gratitude for life, gratitude for feeling encircled. And then over on the right-hand side, there's a search bar. So if you are looking for something specific, you can just put the word in the search bar. Sorry, I don't have my mouse, and I'm having a hard time. So just search blog here, and you could just put a keyword in there, and it'll pull up all the gratitude calls that have to do with that. So lots of fun resources for you guys.
Thank you, Wylene.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, thank you so much. That's so many great resources. So.
And that's just the beginning, people. I'm telling you right now. You get in touch with Wylene, and the resources are limitless, honestly. So I'm looking forward to continuing my path and having you mentor me, Wylene.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Yes. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I did mention one other gift that I would like to give to all of your listeners and all of you who are here on the call too. It's something that I do that I call a dream alignment call. Have you done one of those, Rachel? I can't remember.
I did the purpose call. Is it similar?
Okay. It's similar. It's not quite as in-depth as the purpose call, but what we do on the dream alignment call, because we've talked a lot about like vision boards and manifesting and things like that tonight, it actually will help you be able to align your goals with your purpose, and also to understand how your purpose fits into God's bigger purpose. So that's what the Dream Alignment Call is. And I know, Rachel, you have the link for that. And so I'm just going to let you post that like in the description of the podcast, and people can schedule that. It's it really, everybody that I've done it with has just been totally blown away at, first of all, how simple their purpose is. And it's like, how did I not see this? And the other thing is it's so powerful and just soul quenching. I don't know. It just feels like so fulfilling to know that your individual purpose has really great value to our Heavenly Father and His greater plan. It's It really, if you understand that, there's no way that you won't go out and just every day be trying to be your best and to do your best to fulfill your purpose, because you see the importance of it, because you know God sees the importance of it. And then every goal that you set is going to be alignment with Him, and you're going to be able to manifest even faster.
And I can attest to that. Just by doing the purpose call with you, I go back and reread it every single day, the 3 statements that we wrote down together. And I see it manifesting. I see things manifesting that are there, and it's very powerful. It's priceless, the value that comes from this call with you, Wylene. It really is priceless. There's no price I would put on it. And
right. I just have to say, I did a 15-minute call with Wylene, and she truly has a gift to see who you are, and then she somehow wraps it up so that you can see what she sees in you, and it's so true and believable because it's aligned. And yeah, what a gift that she's giving everyone. And I hope everyone who listens to this podcast takes advantage of this gift she's giving to us. And yeah, it can change your life.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm looking forward to connecting with all of you.
Yes. Is there anything that's pressing on anyone's heart that they want to share before we close the call or close the podcast?
We're talking about power and gifts and how grateful I think we all are for Wylene. Well, definitely we all are for you, Wylene. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We have been very excited to have you and to just, soak in your wisdom. And where there is truth, there is power. And I think the reason that this book that you've written, Wylene, is so beneficial and helpful for people is because what you've done is you've pulled truth, existing truth, real and true principles that are eternal, that don't end, and you've been able to organize it in a way that people can easily, follow and grasp. And you'll find these truths in the scriptures too. Like you're going to find wherever there's truth, there is power. And I'm not saying your book is scripture, but like when you read a book and it's, it's demonstrating truth that is universal truth that's found in any book, like whether it's scripture or whether it's this, it's a second testament. It's kind of like another witness, another testimony to the truth, to the principles that we do find in scriptures. So I think that's why I love this book. And I notice when I read books of truth, I feel the Spirit too, and there's definitely a difference. Like there's scripture and there's books that are like a second witness to scripture, and there's a difference, but all truth, brings us power and goodness and light and hope and places us in a better place and closer to God, closer to who we are, closer to where we need to be. So that just has been on my mind this whole time. Was like, this is truth. There's truth in here, and that's why this has been so helpful for so many people. So thank you.
And one thoughts, Kylie.
I just had one last thing that came to my mind and heart. When we take hold of who we are and we truly see that vision and we understand that, all of a sudden we have this glory within our hearts and around us, and we feel as if we can do whatever we're asked to do by God, or whatever we have in our hearts and our dreams. And it feels like we're unstoppable. It's possible. Everything is possible for us. And so I just really appreciate Wylene showing us the steps we need to take in order to become in that alignment for our purpose. And I'm very grateful, Wylene. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. And that is that gateway of faith, and it ends with the gateway of equity. It's that whole, full circle. I feel like it is really a full circle, or maybe like a spiral, where, gateway of faith and all the gateways up, and ending with the gateway of equity, where we are perfect. It's like we went from being enough to perfect, and they're very, very close. It's almost just like stepping over one line. It's stepping over the line from enough to being perfect, and Christ is where that line is when we come to him and we accept him and bring him into our lives. That's what takes us from just being enough to being perfect. Thank you. Oh, I just feel like that, coming back around to the heart too. Our hearts are where truth resonates, Kylie. Like you're saying, when you're feeling that anxiety or whatever, like you just mentioned a little while ago, that is not felt in the heart. There's like other areas of your body, where we feel that. But when we feel truth, it's like that burning, sensation inside of our hearts that's like, yes, this is true.
And
so we do have the ability to tell the difference.
I just also want to say here, so I'm hogging this now, but I found myself applying all of these, I love to use the word principles, these gateways to motherhood. So this is not just a book for it. She says here, your map to integrity in life and business. This is a great map for motherhood, and we are the MotherHeart. And so I loved being able to read this and ponder how I can use it in my parenting and in my relationship with my spouse and in my personal growth. It was really enlightening for me to think of that area of my life as I read this. So
awesome.
Everyone who's listening.
And so amazing.
We are going to
have so amazing that you know this now, and that you can still those feelings into your kids. You are enough. I mean, even just starting and how we talk to them about abundance and just everything. You learn it and you're going to pass it on. It's awesome.
Very cool. Man, I don't know if there's very much more to say, but I just wanted to end with this quote from your book. It says, the 7 gateways to integrity is a progression. Each gateway adds to the previous one. Thus, integrity is achieved by integrating the wisdom you obtain from each gateway while learning to recognize and embrace the truth. So let's get started navigating these gateways together. So
awesome.
We just want to invite everyone to go out and go to her website, purchase her book, and start this amazing process in your life. It is life-changing, and it is enriching and fulfilling and joyful. And I am on the daily gratitude call a lot, and I can really attest that if you want the spirit of gratitude in your life, join the call. It is really, really an incredible way to start the day. So thank you, Wylene.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. Love you guys.
Thank you so much for joining our MotherHeart Circle. Please send us your thoughts, inspiration, experiences, and stories. Your voice is important. Your wisdom and your hearts are needed. We believe in you, we love you, and thank you for being you.